your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, the continent of North America, the country of the United States of America, the state of California, the city of Los Angeles. Our guest today is joining us from an undisclosed location in Arizona. Okay, it's been disclosed. So what? We're here on Agree to Disagree on a Saturday, May 7th, 2016. Who would have guessed this is the world we're living in a year ago? Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that's looking more and more solidified. Very interesting world. What is that? That blessing and a curse? May you live in interesting times. And these sure are interesting times, and that's especially why I'm so thankful that you've joined us here at the New American Media and thenewamericanmedia.com. Our show today is part of the TNAM radio network. That is, we got plans in the works to expand, and it's in the pipeline. We'll keep you posted as it goes, but we did just celebrate our 5-year anniversary on May Day. 5 years, half a decade we've been doing this, so thank you to everybody. And if you haven't subscribed yet, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Do it and leave some comments. 5 years of content, lots of different things, sports and politics and spirituality and music, and just take a look around, leave some comments, and if you let those advertisements play, you toss a penny or two into our wishing well, and we appreciate that, because it's about time for a gear upgrade as well. But anyway, I digress. We're also on Twitter at American_media_. If you go to thenewamericanmedia.com, it has our Twitter link, our Facebook feed, and also our TNAM radio button, which is where you click play to listen live to this program whenever we decide to go live. When do we decide to go live? Well, whenever it works for all parties involved. That is kind of erratic and sporadic at times, so link up on social media. Instagram.com/thenewamericanmedia. You know what? I'm just going to say I think we got some of the best damn memes in the entirety of the interwebs. I really do think our Instagram page is amazing. We just started it recently, and we want you all to link up with it. Instagram.com/thenewamericanmedia. So we are joined today with Blake Walley. Blake is an activist. He's a journalist. He's a what other ist, Blake? What other ist would you say you are?
That's a good question. I never quite thought of it like that. So, no, I don't know.
Freedomist? I'm trying
to... kind of, yeah. Libertyist? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. We didn't discuss this in advance, which makes for awkward radio sometimes, because I got nothing. I got nothing. Usually I'm quick on my feet, but I got nothing else for ist. But that's if anybody wants to leave a comment in the in the Facebook or in the YouTube comment section, I know people listen to these shows all the time, and I like to leave question of the days. What other ist would you say Blake is? What other ist? That's our question of the day.
God.
What other ist would you call Blake? Because you go by Blake the Eccentric. On Twitter, you're at eccentric99, by the way. Everybody follow him. Yeah, you're an eccentricist? An eccentrist? Eccentrist? Is that a thing?
Yeah, why not?
How about journalist?
Gonzo journalist. Well, I say gonzo journalist.
Yeah, because we started with activist journalist, and we're looking for... Anyway, that's our question of the day. Leave it in the comments. Blake, thanks for joining us. First off, we got to get an update from you over at Freedom Ranch with our former acquaintance. Now I would be confident to call him my buddy, Adam Kokesh. As we've crossed paths multiple times over the past few years, because the activist world, it's a small world. When you jump into the middle and start swimming with the fishes, there's 6 degrees of separation between everybody in the group. Lots of different factions, but anyway, our buddy Adam Kokesh is building an off-the-grid homestead. What's the latest from you over there? First off, for the people that are hearing you for the first time, just kind of give them the brief overview of how you and I met, with what you discovered at the convention 4 years ago, the voter fraud you found, and what led you on your journey to get you over to Freedom Ranch today.
Well, it's been about a 5-year journey, and just somebody who's frustrated by the media and politics and the direction the country was going in and the world. And so I started getting involved on social media by sharing articles and such, and then later started writing my own by starting a blog, and then evolving into internet radio, and then doing vlogs, I guess, video blogs. So yeah, and then memes and all sorts of stuff, and just trying to do that on my own time, and then trying to get more involved for 2016, so I could, with this maybe the most important election of our lifetimes, one of the most exciting and entertaining probably we'll ever see. So yeah, anyway, it sort of brought me over to Freedom Ranch, I guess. I was going to do a little tour, visit the convention, some of the debates, go on the road in an RV. And I didn't get too far from where I was at in Vegas, and stopped over here, yes, to visit Adam and hang out here and do some work and help him out and learn a little from him. And that's all I know. Yeah, we met, I guess, from when I was at the convention, Republican convention in 2012 in Reno, Nevada. I was a delegate for Ron Paul, and I kind of caught some voter fraud and taped it, and it was published on InfoWars and Prison Planet and Activist Post and a few other places. And Brian found it and asked for an interview, and then I went on a show, did the interview, found out that I also did radio, and then we've kind of been collaborating ever since.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's interesting how you start in Vegas, you end up over there. You had these grand plans of just traveling. I don't know how often, not on the road daily, but, hitting all over different parts of the country. And then you get out there and you're like, whoa. What has the experience been like? Because as anybody that's pushing for, maximum freedom and liberty and, just the right to exist as human beings without the oppressive boot of government on your neck, on your throat, on your skull. Adam's doing some really interesting stuff over there, because a lot of it starts with, hey, if you opt out of the system and get independent from, how most people are fashioned into this rat race, into this cookie cutter situation that most human beings find themselves in, 9 to 5 work weeks and mortgage payments and all this stuff. There's plenty of other ways to live, but when you're living independently, you're definitely less controllable, because you're not dependent on many systems. You have your own power, you have your own water, you have your own food production, you have your own security, you have your, and it's just like you kind of become a country of one, an individual living his life and not really sweating all the details. What have been some of the biggest things you've learned since you've been there, Blake?
Well, it's a different lifestyle, because it's more or less off the grid. This town that I'm in used to be kind of a big town back in the day during the railroad, and then once they put up the freeway system, it kind of sent the town on a downward spiral. So it's a different lifestyle where you got to be independent. You have to go. I got to go if I want to go grocery shopping. I have to go 20 miles out, and I have to go through 5 miles of dirt roads, or maybe it seems like 5 miles of dirt roads. And yeah, you have to be dependent on the things that maybe you take for granted when you're plugged into the grid with electricity, or doing a Skype interview, which is pretty amazing. But that's with some signal boosting technology and Wi-Fi hotspots and stuff like that. I'm not actually wired in. I don't have power. I'm running on solar power right now. And at night, if I want to run things, I got to fire up the generator. If we need to get water, we have to go into town, 5-6 miles, and put it on the back of a truck in about a 250-gallon receptacle that most of the people that live around this area use. It's like something you do. Oh, it's you got to go into town and get water, and you got to go to the station and put in how many quarters. It's it's like a penny a gallon or whatever, but then you got to haul it back and pump it out, and it's different, but it's kind of nice being away from all that, and I guess kind of being in nature and some fresh air. There's pros and cons of it all, and I'm having a good time. I don't know if I'd want to do this permanently. It's not for for everybody. But if you want to live independently, and this is a good way to go, is to go find yourself some land and hopefully have some carpentry skills, or can recruit some friends that can, and you build your own fence and put up a house or what have you, and maybe you can kind of be left alone to some extent. So,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
having all that time then being disconnected from the hustle and bustle of Las Vegas, you probably had a lot of time to think, a lot of time to really just reflect on everything, and plus probably a lot of very interesting conversations with Adam around the campfire, perhaps. Has your view of activism or politics in general changed since you've left the big city and gone on this new experience?
Not really. I'm just kind of, busier in a different way. So I'm not really, working a 40-hour-a-week job or anything. But, they stay pretty busy over here, doing any number of things, or helping out. As Adam's building an Earth ship, and he's got a whole big project going. And so it's, yeah, I mean, there's always some work to do, or, maybe you're just chit-chatting with the other people around, or, there's always something going on, or, like it's a big deal, like, to go to town, like, oh, okay, like I went to town yesterday to go, you got to go pick up bottle bricks at a local bar. You go grocery shopping, and like I said, that's that's 20 miles away. It's an ordeal. You got to go run errands or fill up the propane tanks. That's another thing that we have here. You don't have natural gas lines, so you have to we got to get propane tanks filled if you want heat or run your refrigerator, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean it eats up a lot of time. We're just running errands around the ranch. Yeah, so it's different, but there's downtime, and like I said, there's fresh air. It's just different things to do, I suppose.
Yeah, you just think about, I don't know, I played Sim City. I don't know if do you ever play Sim City? Did you ever do that?
Yes, yeah, back in the day, it was a pretty cool game.
So you're doing like Sim Homestead right now, and where I went to the Earthship community in New Mexico, the Greater World Earthship community, and many it's an entire subdivision of Earthships, and I just thinking about it just now, it's like, man, that would be a great business to start in a place like that. Just be the guy that says, hey, every Saturday I go into town, I make runs. Do you want me to do the water? Do you want me to do your handle the propane? Do you want me to do this or that? I'm gonna make a run. Sign up, log in online, tell me what you need. I'll process the payment. I'll just go do it. I'll go do it for you. I'm making my run anyway. That obviously works when you're, in 640 acres and, 100 different houses in a community versus one person or a couple people. Very different scenario. But no, it's an interesting way to live. I think you and I are members of that fraternity as well. The whole working in the dirt, living quasi off the grid, mostly off the grid, trying to think of ways to get even closer to being 100% off the grid, whether that's food production or different ways of handling heating and cooling and water collection and whatnot. But yeah, I just think it's a fascinating thing. So I'm
well, maybe, yeah. And for you, I think that resonates with you really well. Now, I don't know per se like if I'm go in that direction or not. But
come on, we know that you're
a good experience.
We know
I don't
that
know
you're
if
not.
I want to. Yeah.
We know that you're not. You're not going there for a long-term direction. We know that you're not. Right? That's safe to say.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm not like Mr. Handy. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a contractor. I'm not gonna be able to build a house, build a fence, do all that kind of stuff. I can help out. I can. I can shovel, I can fill a wheelbarrow, I can do basic things and, help out and be useful in my own way. But this isn't really my thing. But it's it's good. It's a good experience. And I'm enjoying myself. And but I mean, once this is all said, I don't know if where I see myself in a few years. But I mean, I almost moved to a small town. I'm pretty flexible in that, but I like the big city life. I don't know if I could live in New York per se. I could love to work in Times Square, but I don't know if I could live in that densely populated area and live in a building sharing walls with, 12 different neighbors. But like I said, hopefully I can, it's a good experience. You take something, it's something to look back on, maybe take some pictures and, I don't know.
Well, a minute ago, Blake, Yeah, a minute ago you talked about building fences, which leads us to Donald Trump. That's the big news of this week. Donald Trump, let me shut up. Big news with Donald Trump. If you haven't heard, you're under in a rock or under a rock or in a cave or something. But recap us on what we learned this week. What happened on Tuesday, what we saw from Cruz and Kasich, and what we've heard from Reince Priebus. Just give us the lowdown of what we've learned over the past week with Trump.
Well, surprisingly, he won. It looked like we were going towards a hotly contested convention in Cleveland, and then it was all of a sudden Trump wins Indiana, and the next thing you know, both Kasich and Cruz dropped out. I was really surprised by it. I thought that Trump was going to win Indiana, but then Cruz was going to somehow get the delegates anyway, and then that was just going to be, adding up to this. Oh, is Trump going to get 1237? Is there going to be a second ballot? What's going on? So I was really as surprised because you mentioned that Cruz dropped out in like a text, and I was like, no, that can't be right. And then sure enough, I get online, and there it was.
Breaking news. Breaking news from Brian at TNAM. No, but I mean, that really is how it goes. It is all social media driven. You get a heads up, and it's like, hang on, I just saw this. Let me see if I can confirm it 10 other places from 10 other reputable outlets, and just go, okay, this is a thing that's happening. And that's the trick in social media. You got to be careful what you send out, and has it been thoroughly vetted. You see those things like like Rue McClanahan from Golden Girls passes away. Oh, I'm so sad. It's like, dude, that happened 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, okay. So some of these memes just have a life of their own, and they just keep going. But I did. I sent you the text, and you were incredulous. You were very skeptical, to say the least. And then it turns out that is the case. And I thought about it a few ways. This election, Blake, for me, I can understand someone that says never Trump. I can understand it. I can understand someone that says never Clinton. I get it. I understand. I understand people that say, hey, Republicans and Democrats, they're both two wings of the same dirty bird. I'm opting out. Maybe I'll vote Green Party or Libertarian Party as a protest vote. I can understand that. I can also understand people that think maybe Donald Trump is really a progressive or a liberal in sheep's clothing, infiltrating the party. I could understand people that would say he's very close with Hillary Clinton. He's doing this to make sure one of them wins. I could understand people that would say, no, he's actually an outsider and he's infiltrated the Republican system to dismantle it from the inside out, which is something I can understand. In this world of politics where so many people want to get upset about opinions and upset about policies and upset and angry, and then they're lashing out, and it becomes this guttural, primal, almost like a sporting event where it's my team versus your team, except now it's more like the Hunger Games. My team is going to kill your team, and then there get threats, and then you get intimidation, and then you hear other countries chiming in, and you think about international global warfare with weaponry and atomic bombs in North Korea and Iran and all of these things, and it does take on a very important meaning in the United States when we get to this point, because we're really trying to make our voices heard and say, this is the direction I would like to take things, because if you guys screw this up, it's going to directly impact me. So I understand a lot of the different opinions in this election, and I'm trying to respect most of them. I can't respect the pro-Hillary Clinton angle. I can't do that. I can't see it. I've studied this stuff for 25 years. There is nothing that can get me to back Hillary Clinton, and there's my bias, and I'm claiming it honestly, openly, because you look at her resume, you look at what she's done and what she hasn't done, you look at the lies, you look at the other lies to cover up the first batch of lies, you look at just decades worth of information, and I hope to reach out to Larry Elder, because he's a former attorney. Also spent a lot of time in Cleveland, as we were talking Cleveland sports a second ago. But, to bring him in and do an entire show, which is making the case, proving the case, like a courtroom trial of Hillary Clinton and why she should never be allowed anywhere near the White House. But anyway, I can understand almost every point of view in this election. To you, Blake, how do you see Trump getting the nomination, from what lens, what angle are you approaching this from? Out of all of those options I just listed, and probably a few more I didn't even get to yet.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned one of them that I resonated a little bit more with. I think he is a nationalist who doesn't need the money, is getting involved because he's concerned about the direction of the country is going, and is somebody that can do something about it. I really hope he's not a ringer. I mean, he would really be, just destroying himself. He can either go for greatness or he can be just one of the worst people ever if he, decides to, pull something or drop out at the last minute or, hand it over to Hillary somehow or takes the fall. That would be really bad. So I want to believe that he's out for good, even though, there's things he's not the perfect candidate. There's certainly a lot of things to criticize about it, but overall, I see a lot more upside with Donald Trump. By far, not even close. I know exactly what I'm getting out of Clinton, and I completely agree. Anybody that's just supporting her is completely nuts. I get it if they're brainwashed by the media to an extent where they think they're going to vote for Clinton as the lesser of the two evils. Maybe that could make some sense. But if they just really want Clinton, then they're totally brainwashed, and they need to step out of their bubble and get a better look at reality going on. Not that they need to get involved with Trump, but just to say, oh my God, are we really supporting this woman who is just wicked and awful and has no real achievements and just decades of corruption and failure. I can't imagine. I don't get that at all. I don't care how experienced she is. That's not really a good thing. Her kind of experience is not what we need. A failure and corruption. So so I'm definitely supporting Trump. I think so far I was, going for Rand Paul. But after that, and there's a lot of things that Trump is doing that I really like. But I mean, there's things where it's really hard for me to sit in a room with a, intelligent liberal and try to, convince them that, the wall's a really great idea and deporting, millions of people. I don't want to get into those kind of debates. But, I want to be intellectually honest, and I don't want to be a cultist either. And, the cultists are the dangerous ones that just, and it could be for the Trump people too, that just blindly go along with whatever Trump says, because Trump sometimes he's not always right. And, sometimes he'll change his mind or walk things back once in a while, although he's not always. But anyway, I think I'm rambling, Brian. I'm gonna
it's fine
it
because it's fine because I've heard people say that if Donald Trump represents the Republican Party, I'm no longer a Republican. That isn't me. That is not what I'm. And I said that with Mitt Romney. I'm a recovering Republican myself. I believe in liberty and freedom, and you see some of the things that the Republicans tend to at least pay lip service to, but then you see the policies of John Boehner and Barack Obama and George Bush and John Kerry or Hillary Clinton, or you go down the line and it's like there's not all that much of a difference between what you're getting. Here, have a Coke, have a Pepsi, that's great. Anything else to drink? Yeah, here's a I don't know, RC Cola. It's like, no. Any non-cola drinks? Here's generic cola from Aldi. Whatever the case is, a lot of people are seeing this and saying, hey, if that's a Republican, I'm no longer a Republican. And I can understand that. I just had a conversation off air earlier today with one of our regular guests, and he said, no, I'm definitely in the never Trump camp. I can't do it. And he said, I understand Hillary's terrible. Trust me, you will never hear me saying anything that will defend Hillary Clinton. He said, but people have said, well, we know what we're getting out of Clinton and we don't like it, so let's roll the dice with Donald Trump. And he told me, he said, absolutely not. He goes, gun to my head, I must pick one choice in the next election. I would choose Hillary Clinton. because we know because we know it's just going to be another 4-year extension of the Obama policies, and we didn't die during the last 8 years. It's not a good system, but we're here already. It's just going to be status quo. And he added the caveat: as long as the Republicans could maintain control of either the House or the Senate to keep her from ramming this stuff through. So it was a nuanced opinion. It's one that I don't agree with. I understand. Okay, part of me agrees with some of the nuances of that point, but how would you have reacted? What's your thought upon hearing someone that phrased it that way?
I can't I was supportive of Obama beating Romney in 2012, even though I was a Ron Paul guy. But once it came down to Obama Romney, there was no way. Just let Obama destroy progressivism. And he's done a pretty good job at that. And the Democratic Party is just in complete shambles. They've lost the House, they've lost, the Senate, they've lost the states, and they've got no talent under the age of 65. Obama's about the only recognizable name in the Democrat Party. I mean, the liberal media is a joke. I mean, he's done a lot of destruction. And I think, letting Hillary in there is incredibly dangerous. So no, I mean, and it's hard to beat an incumbent anyway, but Romney was an establishment guy. And Donald Trump, to me, is not an establishment guy. Usually they like to pick, you get to pick one of two puppets. The establishment picks both sides. So, they're going to go. They wanted Hillary versus Jeb, and then Jeb faltered. And so then they had Marco Rubio, and then Rubio was out, and they kind of wanted Kasich. But then, it was kind of Cruz that, people were resonating with. So they kind of leaned on him for a while, but it was like anybody but Donald. And, I don't like the GOP establishment. I don't like the Democratic establishment. I think these two big party systems are, they need to go down. People need to, think for themselves and not be, buy into this, two-party system. So, that's why I think Trump is clearly the guy here, because, it's a lot of the people that I don't like are against him. So, if the GOP is terrified of him and they're trying to do everything they can to, prevent it from him, prevent him from being the nominee, and the Democrats are panicking right now, and that shows me that there's some good there, and that Donald is his own man, and he's not bought and paid for, and that we don't know what we're getting, and I think that's a good thing. I'd rather have Donald Trump win, and at the very least, it's going to be entertaining. And I'm not that threatened by him. He's been around in our lives for decades. We all know who he is. He's an American icon. I like the way he speaks off the cuff. He's not your traditional politician. And I like a lot of the things he's saying. I like exposing 28 pages or auditing the Fed. I believe he just said he would do that within 100 days. Repealing Obamacare. I mean, there's a lot of things that are really good about what he's pushing out there. And the fact that the establishment and the oligarchy is completely freaking out, shows me that he's good. But could he be sort of like Putin? Yeah, that's the thing, is that he could be a new kind of authoritarian. I think that's the risk. But Clinton is dangerous, and she's a criminal. And it sets a very the dangerous precedent, having somebody like that running the country and being running the media again. That is not a good direction for her. That's going into the dark age. Whereas Donald Trump, I don't know what we're getting, but I'm far more optimistic. It's not even comparable.
And that's fair. 24% of people in a recent Rasmussen Reports study, nearly 1 in 4, say that they will stay home or vote for a third party if Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are the major party presidential candidates. And I was having a conversation last week about this. If the Libertarian Party can't get 24% in an election where so many people are so vocal and so adamant, I mean, can you remember as many people that said never Mitt? They didn't like Mitt. They didn't think he was the right choice, but there wasn't a never Mitt hashtag. I know Twitter was more of it in its infancy in those days, but I mean, the vitriol on both sides. Hell no, I will never vote Hillary Clinton. Oh, good God, no. I'd rather punch myself in the face than vote for Donald Trump. You hear a lot of that this election. So I'm just saying, if there's a third party out there that can't get that 24% in this in this particular environment with these particular sets of circumstances, you know, I've never seen a third-party opportunity as ripe as it is right now for somebody to come in like a Jesse Ventura or, you know, maybe a John McAfee, an Austin Peterson, or a Gary Johnson, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, it just makes me think that this is the perfect time to have a third party. Would you, though, disagree with that and say that there's
I completely disagree with that.
No point in third parties.
You could say that in, 2012. Yeah, absolutely, because there's no one to vote for, Romney versus Obama. But with this year, with the ultimate showdown of our lifetimes going on, I don't think a third party has a chance. And I think, I don't know how you're going to, you know, wrestle the attention away from Donald Trump. It would have to be.
What if it were Jesse Ventura? What if it were
Jesse Ventura? Is no way he's going to do it, and there's several reasons. One, I believe he's friends with Donald Trump. Two, the conservatives out there hate his guts because they're still convinced that, about the Chris Kyle thing, that's all true, and that Jesse's a bad guy for going after his wife, even though, it was perfectly in bounds, and there was a perfectly legitimate defamation suit, which he won. And Jesse's pretty liberal, but he's...
By the way, the caveat, the cherry on top of that is that he didn't go after the wife for a damn thing. He sued the publisher. The wife didn't lose money because of that. The publisher lost money. You know, he was lied about. He was insulted in the media. And yeah, he had a show called Conspiracy Theory. We get into every topic. And I say we because I was a watcher of that program. I'm a coast-to-coast listener. I consider extraterrestrial life. I consider massive conspiracies. I consider cover-ups and lies and espionage and all of these things. You know why? Because it's happening. I don't know to what extent, exactly how, but these things are topics that should take way more of our time than our favorite sports teams, unless they're the Cavaliers marching toward a title this year. So I would say the only person that could battle Donald Trump and put him in place, and that could battle Hillary Clinton and put her in her place, would be Jesse Ventura. I think if he felt like doing it and focused and jumped onto the Libertarian Party ticket today, I don't even know if they can do that. I'm not an expert on their bylaws and rules. But I'll tell you what, he's the guy that has the celebrity name recognition alongside of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
Yeah, see, I just don't see it. If it was, the establishment's dream, and let's say Trump wasn't in there, and it came down to Hillary and Jeb, and then Jesse Ventura came in as a third party, I'd say maybe. And I really like Jesse Ventura, but I think that his name has been dragged through the mud and been discredited so badly by the media, even though a lot of it's false, that the people would never even take that seriously.
See, I just think he would have the ability to set that record straight. If he then jumped in and grabbed the headlines away from Trump, and let's face it, Hillary's not making
not going to
headlines.
happen. Yeah, and I believe, and I'm not 100%, but I think that Trump is friendly with Jesse Ventura. I think they're probably friendly on some level.
Well, I ran for student government president against one of my friends, and he's like, "Dude, you got to drop out. We're splitting the vote." I said, "Look, man, it's not about helping you, and it's not about hurting you. It's I need to do this for me." I hear you. No, I'm sorry. I don't want me to cut you off. That was just the point I was making. Is I know we had that conversation, and it was I'm still doing this. I've done this 2 years in a row. I feel strongly about it, and I know that Governor Ventura. He was a governor of Minnesota. He was the only one that broke the two-party system. How many years ago? He was the ultimate. Anti-establishment candidate. He was wealthy enough, he had money, he had name recognition, and he came in, and as a Navy SEAL, he's tough as nails, and he's a performer from the WWF. It was all of those perfect storm things, and who knows, maybe he doesn't have the fire in his belly for it. Maybe there is a partnership there, or a friendship, and he just doesn't want to mess with it at this point. Who knows, but I just know he's been asked about running for president since he became governor. So, don't think that he hasn't been thinking about this for the past 3 decades, because he has been.
I'm sure, but not with the momentum and the support that Donald Trump has. I think that would just be, you're just getting in the way. You're going to get run over and eaten alive I think that'd be a terrible move by Jesse Ventura if he wanted to get involved.
And that's possible. That is a possibility. What does it mean when you think about the Republican establishment? Like you said, get steamrolled, and that's by the two major party nominees at this point that it's looking like. What does it mean, though, that Donald Trump was so... that it's not just that Trump didn't receive a lot of love. He received a very focused and dedicated, I don't know what you'd call it, movement, smear campaign. A lot went into play when Mitt Romney started speaking out, and John Boehner and Paul Ryan and Glenn Beck. It all kind of seemed to emanate around the same time when they said, oh crap, Donald Trump's he has a chance to win this thing. He's taking care of everybody we thought was going to be doing better. What do? Panic mode. Let's pick a plan and go. And it was just attack Trump. So, I mean, what does it mean to you that the party insiders and a lot of connected people to the Republican Party, that they were so willing to take out their front runner? What does that tell you?
I don't, like I said, I don't really like a lot of people that are anti-Trump are people that I don't like, or they're the old neocons to me, or they're bought and paid for. When you're talking about somebody like Glenn Beck or Mark Levin, who are big vocal critics of Trump. So I got to look at where the source is coming from. I mean, I don't, the one that surprises me is Dick Cheney actually supported Trump, but for the most part, all these old neocons, or I don't care what John Boehner thinks or Paul Ryan thinks. I mean, to me, that's an endorsement. If they're against Donald Trump, I see that as an endorsement rather than a bad thing. I don't care. I want those old, those GOP dinosaurs out. I don't want more Karl Roves. I don't like these people. They're gone. Bill Kristol, go away. You're done. You had your time. It's over. So so
party's over. Closing
right.
time.
Exactly. Yep. Or Reince Priebus. What do I care if they don't like Trump? Yeah.
It's so interesting because the party's just having this. It's a freak out right now. And I just got to say this for the Ted Cruz, John Kasich, all that stuff. For those camps, the last two men standing before conceding, essentially. I understand what they were doing. Some say, oh, trying to steal the election, or it's illegal, or it's collusion. It's like, no, hold on. This is a game. Just like basketball, or let's say football. If two teams are playing the game, and they're always right about to score a touchdown, but they don't score one, you know what? If the clock runs out at overtime, it doesn't matter how close the other team came to winning. If you prevent them from scoring a touchdown or a single point, we're going to overtime, which would have been the contested convention. So, I don't have a lot of hatred for Cruz's plan to do that. I don't really understand what Kasich brought to the table. I don't really understand. Have you figured out what Kasich staying in there, what that meant?
They just wanted to introduce somebody who was like a moderate, reasonable Republican and that alternative, or that could work across the aisle with the Democrats, and the nice guy. The little league dad, I call him, but no, I mean that was his angle, and it just wasn't working. People are angry, they're upset with Washington, they're upset with the media, and they're upset with this progressive agenda from Obama, and they want somebody who's going to go and kick ass on their behalf, and that guy happens to be Donald Trump.
What did you think of Ted Cruz before this process, and then as we watched the debates continue and the campaign continue, has your opinion of Ted Cruz changed?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's become maybe more negative. And I still think that the Ted Cruz Carly ticket was strong, and that's probably one of the best tickets we've seen in the last several election cycles. That's something in some way I could probably, if that came to fruition, I think I could live with that to some extent. But I mean, there are some red flags with Ted Cruz, and he seems, and there might be something. He might be pretty corrupted. It's hard to say. He's got some kind of shady connections with the Bush family, and his wife Heidi is connected with Goldman Sachs and the Council on Foreign Relations, and I don't know. These people, they could be bought and paid for. There's something wrong. And then this whole religious angle, the social conservatism, that kind of gets me, even though I don't really mind so much because he's a states' rights guy, which I'm okay with, as long as you're not enforcing your beliefs on me or, 320 million people, I don't really care. But yeah, then he starts and hanging around with Glenn Beck and there's all this whole religious stuff, and they're praying and fasting, and it was just like I can't get behind something like this. This is just getting really weird to me. And and Ted's got a great voting record. I got to respect his the way he sees the law, and I'm okay with that. But, I mean, the more you find out about him, it seems like everybody in Washington can't stand the guy. And then he's also got, shady stuff.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Because when it seems like everybody who dislikes everybody in Washington not being able to stand Ted Cruz, that sounds like the endorsement you mentioned a minute ago about Donald Trump. It sounded like the same because of so many outspoken morons that are trying to take Trump down that I disagree with so much. I go, oh, if they're against Trump, then I'm probably for that. But I think you just said the same about Ted Cruz. How is it different?
Yeah, well, this is amongst his colleagues and his coworkers that he works among as a lawmaker on Capitol Hill. That's a completely different story. If you can't, work with, if you're, looking to pass bills and talk about things, or that's to me, it's a completely different thing, rather than what Donald Trump on that other hand.
Oh, did you see that video that came out? It was that woman that worked for Donald Trump, and she wanted to speak out because. Do you know the video I'm referencing?
Not sure, no.
Yeah, there was a woman, a black woman, who has worked with Donald Trump. I'm trying to
saw that. I put it on social media. Yeah, there was like an InfoWars article about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. To actually say, just trying to set the record straight. That person is someone who's very close with Donald Trump. You look at his family. I mean, they've been working together. As a family, he worked with his father as a family. That family is close. Something about his inner circle seems to be functioning decent. Sure, there have been divorces. I get that. I mean, come on, dude. That happens.
People like working with Donald Trump and as a businessman and what he does. Whereas, so he gets along with his coworkers, where I would say Ted Cruz does not get along with his coworkers.
His third grade report card, straight A's. Does not play well with others. You remember when you always had those little specific notations that you could let the parents know. Here's some of the challenges we're facing with little Brian. No, but it is interesting. Let's do this, Blake, because we want to do a quicker show today. I mean, essentially we're kind of breaking down what the Trump pseudo quasi pending nomination, what it's going to actually mean to the two-party system in general, the Republican Party specifically, and even more specifically to the 2016 presidential election. But I know we had a few other topics, and I don't know if you didn't have any other thoughts on this. I just wanted to kind of recap what we learned about Guccifer, because I think this is a very significant revelation about Hillary Clinton, what she did, why it's important, and why that proves she has no understanding of what it takes to effectively and securely and safely run this country. Did you have any final thoughts on the Trump thing before we switch to Guccifer and wrap it up?
No, not necessarily. There's always going to be something going on now that he looks like he is the nominee. It looks like it's official, although you never know what kind of shenanigans are going to go down in Cleveland. So it's good to be on top of that, or to hopefully be there in person and watch it all unfold, and hopefully it goes well and leads to that epic showdown here with Trump versus Hillary, but hopefully, maybe it, could not be Trump versus Hillary. Maybe, she might not be there. It won't come down to that. So it could be, partially disappointing in that angle. I'd like to see
Oh,
her
you mean like
get thoroughly beaten and destroyed on the big public stage, but I don't know.
so you mean like the way Kobe and LeBron never had a NBA Finals matchup, kind of like how the Cavs last year lost Kyrie Irving
Exactly what I was thinking.
and
No, I was
Kevin
kidding.
Love lost
That
Kyrie
was, I
Irving and
felt
Kevin
bad
Love.
for
So
you guys. That was.
oh,
Yeah.
it was. Why did you feel bad?
Well, because I really was hoping, Cleveland was going to do well last year. I know it's been a long time, and you guys were excited to get LeBron, and it was like your second and third best players both go down in the playoffs, and like a freak injury. I can't remember what happened to the Irving guy, but then it was just like it was painful because you wanted to see a healthy Cavs team and see what they could do, and it was you watched some heroic efforts by. LeBron just, carrying the whole team on his back and, scoring 40, 50 points a game or whatever. But it just wasn't enough. You needed that. You needed a Kevin Love. You needed an Irving or somebody else. And, and it was, I felt bad, even though I'm not, 10% of the NBA fan that you are.
Yeah. Well, something that kind of combines these now. Something that, and I'm hearing different reports on this, so I got to get this. I'll just say, hang on, within 24 hours. I'm trying to search to see if there's. So Sherwin-Williams, and I've heard that they're not doing it now, but as of 20 hours ago, actually, let me switch
Paint company?
Yeah, the paint company. CBS. I'm trying to. Here, from 5 hours ago, CBS Cleveland. Let me just go to this one. Because there's so many different places to tell you this story. Where's it at now? Okay. I just clicked the link.
Retro.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
I'll see if I can dig it up.
Thank you. I'm trying to dig this up because it combines. Here we go. Thank you. Jeez. I had to click it, and that's just weird, and then a pop-up. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you don't have a producer.
Live radio.
All right, so here we go.
Have a producer and a team behind you.
So this is like an iconic symbol in Cleveland. There's a big warehouse, and there's a enormous banner of LeBron James. And for years, it was LeBron James with a little Nike swoosh. And then this, when he came back, what it is now, it's LeBron in his jersey, and he's got his hands up after the talcum powder toss to start the game, and it says Cleveland on the back of it. It's not about him, it's about the city. So here's what's going on. LeBron James is about to be replaced for the upcoming Republican National Convention in July. The banner of him, that is. Cleveland-based Sherwin-Williams has announced that the large banner of the Cavs superstar that adorns the side of their corporate headquarters will be replaced at the end of June in preparation for the RNC. The new banner, which awaits approval from the Cleveland City Planning Commission on Friday, will have a patriotic feel to it and incorporate the company's colors of real red, individual white, and loyal blue, left to right. The text, "This land is our land, 150 years in Cleveland," with the company logo printed below, will appear on the center white panel, which will be flanked by the left and red light panel, panels. But I'll tell you what, in the middle of a championship run now, this has become a very hotly contested issue. And then yesterday, Sherwin-Williams tweeted out, "Don't worry, Cavs fans. We love King James. We're going to keep the..." It turned into a trending national story of hashtag keep the banner through the playoffs. So don't worry, we're going to keep it all through the playoffs, all in 216, which is 216 is the area code, and then hashtag CLE. So it's interesting, you got the RNC button up against the sports there, and I'll tell you what, if you've never actually even been to Cleveland, have you?
No.
Excellent. That is so cool. I'm looking forward to it. I can nowhere. There's nothing legitimate where I could claim to be a Cleveland expert. I'm only expert in the fact that I've been to a lot of Browns games and Cavs games and Indians games and surrounding things from time to time. But I'm looking forward to the convention this year. I think it's going to be interesting, whether there's riots outside or not. This is monumental. This is such an epic moment, and man, would it be great if the Cavs bring home that championship to boot and break a 52-year curse. I think that would just be what a great year it would be for Brian. What a great year I would have if I could finally end that sports drought and then, watch this festival roll into the biggest city, growing up outside the greater Cleveland area, about a half hour or so. It could be a sense of pride depending on how it all plays out. But anyhow, I just wanted to get to the Hillary Clinton Guccifer thing. What did we learn on this case? Just the brass tacks. Maybe we could do another show and kind of break this down more. But I really think it speaks to Hillary Clinton's lack of judgment and the danger she would put us in.
Yeah, I mean, the FBI is currently doing an investigation on her server and everything that happened and talking to the who's who. And they actually extradited a hacker out of Romania and brought him to the United States to question him. And he has gotten into her server at least a couple of times. He got through when he was checking out. He was actually trying to get into Sydney Blumenthal, her associate, that she really wasn't supposed to be discussing with. But anyway, Guccifer got into his account, and then that kind of led to, the Clinton1.com email or whatever that was. And then, he got in a couple times. And supposedly she's got over 2,000 emails containing information that was classified. Another 22 of those are at the top secret level. Yeah, and she ran her own private server instead of going through the proper government channels like she was supposed to, which means, and then she's, hiding it from the American people. She's supposed to work for us, but she's working for herself and her foundation and her special interests. And she isn't fit to run, and it just shows you that if this guy can get in. I mean, Guccifer, he's not like an elite hacker by any means, but he's he did get in, and so if he can get in, they figure that any number of different hackers could have gotten in too, and that includes other foreign countries. And so when you expose that much classified information to enemies, that could lead to some disastrous consequences. So who knows how that's affected us, and it just shows how careless and uncaring. Just speaks to her character. I mean, why would she go through with this, and why did she? And she thinks she can get away with this, and she's been just been playing games and stonewalling and acting like there's not an investigation going on. I mean, she's out of control, and she needs to be stopped. But like I said, it just sets a very dangerous precedent to have somebody like this in the highest level of power, not only in the country but the world. So, what's next? Imagine the kinds of things that she'll do, and she can really get away with it at the top, and she can, have that much influence over, the media and all the power and the military and the FBI. I mean, and the CIA. I mean, that's a really scary thing.
Well, some people have said the same about Trump and the vendettas that he holds against people, the grudges that he holds against people. We've seen Barack Obama's IRS go after political enemies. It's not like this would be a brand new thing.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, there is some risk with having, Donald an alpha male that has potential to be an authoritarian. Certainly. But, again, I just don't even think it's comparable to Clinton. Clinton's just an open criminal that gets away with everything.
I got to tell
you. Like I said, Donald Trump, what? Sorry?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know if the audio was cutting out. Yeah, well, Donald's just the alpha male that could be an authoritarian.
I gotta say that I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Huh?
I agree with that point. My friend told me that, and it was like the exact opposite of how I feel. So I'm gonna have to do some more deep thinking about how to respond to. We know what we're getting in Clinton, so we have to vote Trump, and he says absolutely not. I got to think about that a little bit, because I'm trying to figure out, what do I do now? Do I go third party? Do I vote against Clinton? Do I do it in California, sign up as a Democrat to vote for Bernie? Anything to slow her down? Who knows? I mean, I got a little bit of time to figure it all out, but I think it's a very nuanced election, and I think it's going to get very interesting now that we can focus on the brass tacks of what this really means to the nation. I mean, Justice Scalia, who takes over where Scalia leaves off? That is going to be so important to your Second Amendment rights, to your First Amendment rights, to your Fourth Amendment rights, to your 10th Amendment rights, to so many things that, if I know who Hillary Clinton is going to put in there in that office, maybe that's enough to vote against it. We'll see. I haven't made up my mind either way. I'm open to all suggestions and opinions. And Blake, that's why I appreciate you coming on the show and just talking more esoterically a little bit, more, in a more general term, but more specific at the same time today. Just kind of trying to figure out what it all means. So, hey man, final words, last 15 seconds. Everybody, he's on Twitter at Eccentric99. His homepage is eccentricperspective.com. Final 15 seconds, Blake. Any final thoughts? All right. Blake, thank you so much for joining us. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the New American Media and Agree to Disagree. My name's Brian Engelman. Ask you to go subscribe, youtube.com/The New American Media, and go to thenewamericanmedia.com to link up with us on Twitter, on Facebook, listen to our live shows, and instagram.com/The New American Media. It's fantastic. I just want to say I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk again soon. Go Cavs. Peace.
Hi, everybody. You're listening to Agree to Disagree with Brian Engelman, and this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is the newamericanmedia.com a very cool platform, but here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. There are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats. They know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.